Hey guys, I'm here once again with Dan from Dan Cross Fitness. Today we're going to touch on the topic of strength training. We'll isolate it a little bit more and get a little more specific into strength training for women. You being a trainer and someone in the fitness industry yourself, I'm sure you get a great experience with women in strength training and what the misconceptions can be.
Yes.
Why don't you walk us through what you find the biggest misconception is with strength training for women?
The biggest one that I hear all the time is that I don't want to be too bulky.
Yeah.
I don't want to be too bulky. And I hear that over and over again. And I got to do cardio because I don't want to be too bulky. And you're not going to get bulky from strength training. You're going to get bulky from eating a lot of protein and a lot of calories and a lot of carbs.
I say this the nicest way possible. That bulky look is fat.
It's fat. I know.
I'm sorry, but it's the majority of that is fat.
And the other thing too, it's like they're undermining the actual work ethic it takes to get that big.
Yes,
like
absolutely.
It's not that you're not going to lift weights for 2 months and then look like a friggin' bodybuilder. Like,
you and I spend every waking minute of every waking day to try to build muscle mass. I can guarantee you it's not going to happen by accident over a couple workouts.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. And women tend to eat less too. So like if you're not in a caloric surplus, you're not going to get big.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
And your testosterone levels, your hormone levels, they just aren't to the same level that a male's is.
Exactly.
Which puts your muscle mass. Like the average male can gain between is it 2 to 3 pounds a month, I think, of lean mass. I think that's what it is for a natural athlete. Yeah. Whereas a female, most studies have shown that an untrained female can gain 0.5 to 1 pound a month on a proper strength training program.
Exactly.
With the intention of building muscle all throughout every day.
Exactly.
And I mean, that's an untrained athlete. So if you take a trained athlete, that percentage is going to be even decreased. So the odds of you building that much muscle mass are slim to none.
Well, exactly. And the other thing too is like strength training for weight loss too. Like you don't necessarily want to lose weight, you want to lose fat.
That's exactly it.
And strength training is going to boost your metabolism. So you're going to burn more fat throughout the day.
Yes, exactly.
It's that, and again, that's another one. Like chronic cardio, you're going to lose weight because you're going to be burning a lot of calories, but you're not necessarily going to lose fat.
Right.
And that's what you want to lose.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, the biggest calorie output for the body is muscle contraction.
Exactly.
Right? So that's the biggest misconception with people. It's not moving your body per se, it's muscle contraction.
Yeah.
To a specific degree. So the more strength training you do, the more caloric output you're going to have.
Yeah.
Thus, the more fat you're going to burn, right?
And just from a personal standpoint, it looks good. It looks
agree.
good when a woman has some
Absolutely.
muscle. Like it's not like women are so afraid that they're going to look bad and blah, blah, blah. Like it looks really good.
Unless you're the genetic outlier, which there are genetic outliers.
Yeah.
If you're a genetic outlier, you knew when you were a teenager that you were a genetic outlier.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you would have already had that frame, you already had that build.
Yeah.
You would maybe played a sport and all of a sudden blew up.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know by now if you're the genetic outlier.
Exactly.
And if you don't, then you're not.
Yeah, and it's 1% of the population. 1 to 5. Like it's not a lot of people.
No, it's not.
So if you think you're a genetic outlier, you're probably not. Like I'm not.
No,
I'm not at all.
That's exactly it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's a good article I read by Greg Nuckols on strong lifts.
Yeah.
You were saying you read some of strong lifts
stuff.
I'll link the article in the notes here at the bottom, but he was linking it towards wrist and ankle and total body frame.
Yeah.
Those are kind of the things that dictate whether you're going to be a genetic outlier or not, right? So if you have big wrists, big thick joints, big ankles, you're probably going to be genetic outliers. Maybe you might want to stay away from like heavy weights.
Yeah.
And when I say thick wrists and thick ankles, like that's not fat. That's bone structure and things of that nature. So.
Okay. Cool. I didn't know that. That's interesting. Yeah. So is that for males and females?
It is for I mean, again, there's always going to be variables. I don't like to speak in absolutes.
Yeah.
But they say that on average, those are the dictators of the people who have the biggest muscular potential.
Okay.
It's the people with the big joints.
So if you had a female come to you and say, I want to lose some weight, what would you do with them? What, like, in terms of a program, can you take me through that?
Yep, 100%. There's certain factors. I mean, I always cater to the program that you enjoy doing, as the program is going to yield you the best results.
Yeah.
But I would very much base it on a strength-based program.
Okay.
Like, I don't know if you've noticed, I'll use CrossFit as a good example. I'm really not a big fan of the CrossFit physique for men. Mm-hmm. Like, aside from the elite people who do CrossFit, I find it doesn't for males build a great physique.
Okay.
But I don't know if you've ever watched the CrossFit Games and seen the women. Mm-hmm. Like, they look phenomenal.
They do.
The muscle mass they carry is phenomenal.
Yeah.
So I find that approach, not as in a high demand type fashion like CrossFit where it's all about time.
Yeah.
But I find incorporating some heavy lifts with some endurance based work intertwines nicely into into a good fat loss program for women.
Okay. And rep ranges. This is something that I'm very curious about because I know for men, rep ranges that I'm going to do to build a good male physique, but a female physique in terms of, let's say they want to tone a little bit, lose a little bit of fat.
Yep.
What would your rep range be?
Yeah, everyone always has the fear if they go too low in repetitions and push too much weight, they're going to explode, right?
Yeah.
Which I completely disagree with. I think, and you would probably know, that if you really, really solely just want to build muscle and throw strength out the window, the biggest dictator is more time opposed to repetitions. So I've actually found like 45 to 60-second sets is what's going to build the most muscle mass.
Okay.
And I've found that sets with rep ranges of maybe 3 to 5 with women actually create the biggest metabolic demand.
Okay.
So if you were to do, this is why I made that example of like a CrossFit style workout. If I got a woman to do, I like to incorporate a lot of heavy lifts in the 3 to 5 rep range, and then intertwine some endurance-based muscle stimulating work after. So maybe a sled push or sled drag or some kind of carrying movement or something along those lines that's more endurance-based, intertwined with like a 3 to 5 rep range power movement.
Okay.
I find is amazing for the metabolism and for fat loss.
Okay. So one of the techniques that I use to gain muscle mass is poundage progression.
Yep.
So each week I'm adding weight to the bar.
Yep.
So again, going back to the female thing, if you're doing 3 to 5 reps for, let's say, 135 pounds on squat, would you increase each week weight-wise, or would you keep it the same?
I'm a big fan of progressive overload for anybody.
Anybody, yeah.
The body's adaptive. We all know that, right? So I think progressive overload in any fashion is the way to do it.
Okay.
There's a certain threshold. Like I found with natural women athletes, they're going to hit a threshold. Like they're going to hit their max very quickly. They'll escalate very quickly with strength, and they will hit that point of kind of plateau. I don't like that term per se, but they'll hit a point of plateau with their strength very quickly.
Okay.
And you'll kind of find that, and then the matter of is kind of maintaining that while incorporating other things around it, increasing your overall volume and making progression in other areas to still maintain a linear progression.
Okay.
Because I do find that threshold for women, say if you say the 135 squat is where you've kind of worked up to over a period of months, you may only be able to make it to maybe like 145, 155, and then that might be it for honestly forever.
Okay.
Until you've kind of either taken some assistance type supplements or things of that nature.
Okay.
Just because women don't have the hormone levels to...
They don't have the testosterone and the growth hormone.
And those are very strength dictating. And again, if you're a genetic outlier, you're going to know you're a genetic outlier. There are women that obviously get ridiculously strong.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've seen some of them. It's very impressive.
It is very impressive. But unless you're that genetic outlier, you'll hit your max potential very quickly. And the matter of manipulation after that is incorporating everything else you do with it intertwined.
Okay. Okay, cool.
And again, that's for fat loss. That'd be my protocol for fat loss.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So, where would you put cardio in all this?
I wouldn't. That was the endurance-based exercise I talked about. I would avoid cardio at all costs. Unless your goal is to lose muscle mass. That's the only reason I think that someone should do endurance-based cardio unless they're an endurance athlete. If you're not an endurance athlete, the only reason to hit endurance-based cardio, like a long duration cardio at a steady state, is to throw away muscle mass, because that's really, in my opinion, all you're going to do.
Lose total body weight.
Yeah.
Like you want to go from 160 to 130 and lose fat and muscle mass.
Which you and I both know there's no reason to ever do.
Excuse me. Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
Because really, I mean, muscle's heavy. It's a demand for the body to maintain. So if you give it an excuse to get rid of it, it probably will. So if you force your body to do an endurance type steady state cardio session, your body's going to realize that the muscle takes a lot of contractile work and a lot of weight to carry through with you, and it's going to ditch it as soon as it possibly can. So I really think, honestly, there is absolutely zero need for fat loss to do cardiovascular endurance training.
I completely agree with that. I think from an enjoyment standpoint, like if you enjoy doing it, maybe throw it in at the end.
I would
of your
never deter
workout.
somebody that for heart health and things of that nature.
Yeah.
I would never deter somebody, but you and I both know if you do a hard workout in the fashion that I talked about with big compound movements intertwined with some endurance type sets in between, you're probably not going to experience anything on a treadmill that ever compares to that.
No.
That will get your heart rate through the roof. That will accelerate fat loss. Like, there's no need to step on a piece of cardio equipment if you're doing your strength training correctly. Okay, awesome. And one thing that I want to throw in there too is getting bulky often involves three things. Very, very high protein, high calories, and then the main one is high carbs. Yeah.
High carbs will blow you up.
And that's, would you say, mostly based on water retention?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Yeah, if you're a female and you want to lose some fat or even some weight, just do some strength training, maybe a little bit of cardio, and just make sure your carb and protein intake is a little lower.
Yeah.
And you're not going to get big and bulky.
No, and that's exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because I mean, water retention does come with strength training.
Oh yeah.
There's no doubt about that, and that could attribute to some of the bulky look that women think they have.
I think so.
Because carbohydrates are going to shuttle water with them into intermuscular.
Yeah.
Like they're going to go intermuscular and take the water with them.
Yeah.
For males, it's a great look. That's exactly what you want. It pulls the subcutaneous water into the muscle, makes you look fuller, leaner.
Yeah.
With women, I can understand why that might.
Yeah, they want to be leaner and more toned.
100%.
They don't want to have puffiness or anything.
100%.
Yeah. Okay.
So let's touch a little bit. I don't know if you know much about or if you have much experience in like things like sarcomeres and mitochondria within the muscle.
I don't.
Okay.
Do you? Can you explain
a little bit
like that? Okay.
So what women I find want is every woman always, I don't know if they've had it too, they don't want that bulky look, they want that long muscle look.
Yeah.
Which for a long time we've often thought is impossible to get. Mm-hmm. But lately I've been doing some research into stretching, loaded stretching and weight-bearing stretching. So with a lot of women I'll intertwine like loaded stretching. Okay. So do you do much work with loaded stretching?
Describe it to me.
So I'll either do an interset or prior to a set.
Okay.
Meaning, say I would take something like a chest press.
Yes.
We would do a chest press, and then we would hop up and hold maybe like some kind of fly movement with band or cable resistance.
Okay.
To the point where it becomes a loaded stretch and the resistance is fighting against you.
Okay.
And we would intertwine those back and forth.
Okay. How would you hold that band stretch? Would it be out like this at the bottom portion?
No, I would hold it in a fully lengthened state, actually.
So you're contracting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Or at a fully lengthened state, meaning...
Oh, out like this.
Yeah,
okay.
so not a contracted muscle.
Yeah,
with a lengthened muscle.
Okay, yeah, which makes sense.
What I find is when you load stretches in that sense, there's been a few good studies proven. I'll link some of them in the bottom here. I think one of them was by Dr. Jacob Wilson. I don't know if you know much about him. He's a fantastic exercise science.
Okay. Yeah, I'll look into him.
Yeah, he did a really good study that linked the correlation between loaded stretching, so stretching in a lengthened point with resistance.
Okay.
And actually creating more sarcomeres in that state, which is going to give you a longer looking muscle. Okay. So I actually will incorporate a lot of that with women if they have that goal. And that's why you see a lot of like dancers and figure skaters, they have that look that women want.
Really long,
it's like a long, lean muscle. It's not bulky.
Especially.
Swimmers, 100%. 100%.
Swimmers.
And that's why, right?
Yeah.
It's because they do a lot of loaded full range stretching in a lengthened state with resistance, right?
Yeah. Even from my standpoint, I do the same thing. I just do it a little differently. At the end of my dumbbell presses, I'll just hold the dumbbells for like 15 seconds at the bottom here, and then I'll unload them. But yeah, because I want that long look in my muscle. I want it to be big, but I still want the full muscle to show.
And there's been some really good, fantastic research done lately. And like I said, I'll link some in the bottom of this.
Yeah.
Some really good research done into actually creating more sarcomeres and actually creating that longer muscle.
Yeah.
It is actually possible. We didn't think it was, but now it's actually being proven that it is possible to build a longer, like lean muscle look.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
As far as nutrition goes, what would you do with a female that is looking to lose fat and build a minor amount of muscle? She doesn't want that bulky look. Where would your nutrition go with her?
Like I said, lower carb, higher fat. Carbs give you that puffy look. Mm-hmm. Fat won't. Fat will make you look leaner. So yeah, lower carb, higher fat, moderate amounts of protein. I wouldn't even say to be in ketosis per se.
Okay.
Just lower carb.
How do you find the experience? Do you think women would work well with the ketogenic diet trying to build muscle? Or do you think because the hormone levels are better off to have a moderate amount of carbohydrates?
If they're looking to build muscle, probably a little bit more carbohydrates. Yeah. They don't have the testosterone and the growth hormone, so the muscle, you need the carbs for the muscle growth. Because
those suppressions that you get being on a carbohydrate-filled diet, the suppression of the growth hormone, suppression of testosterone, those kind of things, the hormone suppressions, those are actually less enhanced on a ketogenic diet for females than they are for males, right? Yeah. The percentage is less for females than they actually get out of it.
It is, yeah.
So my understanding was always that the benefits for keto in that sense for muscle building are less for women than they are for males,
they are,
right?
Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, and cravings are a big issue with fat loss and weight loss in general. And the one thing you can do with cravings, if you're craving carbs, eat some more protein. Yeah. Just eat more protein. And your craving should go away if you eat the right amounts of protein.
It's more thermogenic. And
Yeah, and it's not a fuel source.
It's not. You'll excrete if you don't use it.
Exactly.
Yeah, people have a misconception on that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't ever suggest over-consuming protein by choice.
No.
Because I think it could have some kidney effects long term.
It can.
But that's a big dose too.
Oh, you got to eat a lot. I don't think you could.
Most women I track under protein by far.
Yeah. The main thing though, if you don't want to gain weight, is high carb, high fat. Stay away from high carb, high fat. So you have two fuel sources. You have fats, ketones, and you have carbs and glucose. Mm-hmm. And if you shove a lot of fats and carbs in your body's not going to know what energy source to take, and it's going to store it as fat.
Yeah.
And you're going to gain weight.
Well, ideally, it's going to utilize the glycogen first, probably, and the fat has no chance of getting used for anything, right?
Exactly. So then it just stores. So you pick. You can go low carb, high fat, moderate amounts of protein, or low fat, high carb, moderate amounts of protein. Yeah. And you're going to stay pretty lean. It's just the high carb, high fat that's very dangerous for the weight gain.
And the thing I will touch on with females is that I find it works better, it's more enhanced with females than from the studies I've seen than males, but if you take in an abundance of carbohydrates that you're not going to utilize, they get stored as fat.
They do.
But they get stored as fat with the protein, with the molecule, the glycogen molecule still left on them, so that they can actually be converted back over.
Exactly.
And burned as fuel. So even if they're stored as fat from carbs, they can be reconverted back later.
Exactly.
Whereas if you take in the abundance of fat that you're not going to use, it's just stored fat.
It is.
I mean, eventually it will get burned once glycogen is all depleted.
Exactly.
But it doesn't have that same conversion over rate where it'll get utilized. So if you are going to overconsume, carbohydrates are probably better to do than fat, really, in all reality.
I would say so, yeah. Especially time of day. Like, if you're going to overconsume an energy source, I would say mornings are fat.
Yeah.
Night is carbs.
Because they will store and be utilized later.
Yeah. And insulin can bring down cortisol, the stress hormone, which is going to help you sleep.
Yeah, that's exactly. Well, so, and there's a serotonin release, I believe. From
that too. Yeah. But like, I don't eat my carbs until night, and I find it really helps me sleep. And then in the morning, and I tell everybody that I work with this, even the people that I don't work with, just talking on the street, proteins and fats in the morning, proteins and carbs at night. Yeah. That's going to help you, again, sleep better, which we've talked about.
Well, and women generally have I want to say greater because that's not the right term for it, but a more impactful cortisol response than males do. So the more you can eliminate that, the better with carbohydrates at night, right?
Yeah. Beauty.
With insulin, like you said. So
yeah.
Is there anything you want to touch on in that same strength training realm for women and muscle building?
No, I think we touched on most of what I wanted to anyway.
Okay.
Yeah. The biggest thing is don't fear it. Don't be afraid of it. Muscle, it looks good on a woman.
Yeah, it does.
And you need it. Like, to walk, to get up from a chair, to lift your child or play. You need muscle. You need strength. So to neglect that and just do cardio. And how many people run 5 miles to work? Well, they don't. They drive. Exactly, They drive. And then they have to stand up out of their car. That's strength. So you want to do the strength training just from a functional point of view.
100%. And like we talked about, unless you're one of the genetic outliers,
you're not going to be big and bulky.
You're not. That big and bulky is fat, really. Yeah. I'm sorry to say, but it is, right? So if you were to shed down a lot of that fat, you would have that lean, muscular look that you want. So yeah. Perfect.
Beauty.
Awesome. Good talk.
So
we'll link everything I talked about in the show notes, all the important stuff, and some of the stuff that Dan referenced, we'll link in the bottom.
Yeah.
And other than that, we'll talk soon.
Awesome.
Perfect.